Hello, welcome to Thor Talk, the show all about Marvel's resident god of thunder. On this episode of Thor Talk, Thor becomes the Herald of Galactus. But can he remain worthy if he is now supposed to help destroy entire worlds? And without Thor, will Asgard stand strong, or will it fall? Find out on Thor Talk.
I am Thor the Thunderer, son of Odin, prince of Asgard, and this world is under my protection.
What If Thor #1 was written by Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman and was published in February of 2006. The What If stories do not take place in the main Marvel continuity, but instead happen in other universes. The story begins in a universe similar but different to the Marvel universe, where Galactus stands above a decimated Asgard, waiting to devour it in order to satisfy his hunger. Sif leads the warriors of Asgard to engage Galactus, while Thor attempts to destroy the machine that Galactus is using to devour Asgard. But the Herald of Galactus hits Sif with a blast of energy. Thor screams her name as the Lady Sif falls dead. The Thunder God pushes through his fellow Asgardians and unleashes his fury on the Silver Herald who just slew Lady Sif. The son of Odin unleashes such a barrage of attacks, born of rage and indignation, that the Herald scarcely has time to gasp her last breaths before she falls dead at Thor's hands. Galactus watches with amazement. Thor does not notice, as he rallies the troops of Asgard to fight on, but Galactus calls for a halt to the battle. Galactus is impressed with Thor's power and determination, so he gives him an offer. Join Galactus as his herald, seeking out worlds for Galactus to devour, and in exchange, Galactus will leave Asgard alone. Thor rejects the offer and tells Galactus to prepare to face the full wrath of Asgard. But Galactus points out that Asgard is in no shape to fight him anymore. Thor looks back at the warriors of Asgard. He sees them beaten and injured. He knows they can't win this fight without heavy losses. He turns away from his people. Tell my father of my love for him. I have not the courage to tell him goodbye. Thor drops Mjolnir to the ground. I accept. Sometime later, Thor Odinson, the Herald of Galactus, uses the power cosmic to drive back savage beasts as Galactus prepares to devour their planet. After Galactus feeds on the planet, he tells Thor that he knows what he's been doing. Thor has only brought Galactus to worlds with the most violent and bloodthirsty of races, worlds that either had no intelligent life, or worlds that Thor deemed unworthy. Galactus tells him that because Thor waits to find unworthy or uninhabited worlds, Galactus must wait longer to feed. But he decides to let Thor remain as his herald, because Thor is loyal and Galactus is still being fed. As the two go in search of more planets, Odin's raven Munin flies to them, saying with its dying breath that Odin is dead, Asgard is in ruins, and Loki is responsible. Thor tells Galactus that he must go, and Galactus initially refuses, but when Thor says that he would rather die than not return to save Asgard, Galactus allows him to go, but warns him that the next time he hungers, he will seek out Asgard. Thor finds Asgard to be a ruined abomination of what it once was, with Loki and the Frost Giants ruling over it. Loki reveals that it was him who brought Galactus to Asgard in order to weaken its defenses so that he could kill Odin and conquer Asgard. One of the Frost Giants knocks Thor into Odin's tomb, where Thor finds Mjolnir lying on the body of his father. Not knowing if he is still worthy after his time with the Devourer of Worlds, Thor cautiously reaches for Mjolnir and lifts it into the air. Thor trembles at the thought of his own power, as now he has his full might as the Thunder God and the power cosmic as well. But then, true to his word, Galactus arrives to finally devour Asgard once and for all. Loki begs Thor to help him defend Asgard, but Thor instead goes to the dungeons of Asgard to free his friends. He tells them to evacuate Asgard and go to Earth as he deals with Galactus. Loki tells the frost giants to defend Asgard from Galactus, only to see Thor racing towards the Devourer with incredible speed. Loki grins, seeing that Thor couldn't help himself from saving Asgard. But to Loki's shock, Thor does not attack Galactus, but stops and kneels before his master. Thor says that Asgard is in ruins, and what remains is an insult to what it once was, and he offers up Asgard to be devoured. Galactus is pleased by this, and tells Thor to deal with the frost giants who are trying to stop him. Thor obliges, annihilating every single frost giant in an instant. Loki then attacks Thor, but Thor kills him with one strike, telling him that he is the reason that Asgard must be put out of its misery. Before he leaves, Balder asks Thor if he is coming with them to Earth. Thor says that he will not be joining them. His place is with Galactus. And if Thor can be bold enough to keep the just and good worlds from being devoured, he may yet remain worthy to wield Mjolnir. Balder leaves, as Galactus and his herald attend to their work. In this universe, it is revealed that these events led to Balder becoming a superhero on Earth, much like how Thor was. Thor would remain alongside Galactus, choosing the unworthy worlds to be devoured and leaving the worthy worlds alone. While this story may never be continued, another What If Thor story is coming out in October, about Thor being raised by the frost giants, much like how Loki was raised by the Asgardians. It will certainly be an interesting tale. Well, that's all for this episode of Thor Talk. If you want to keep up with and support Thor Talk, simply subscribe. You can also support Thor Talk on Patreon at patreon.com/ThorTalk. Once again, I'd like to formally state that all art and video is owned by its respective companies, and I own none of it. With that said, see you next time on Thor Talk, where
you'll behold in breathless wonder.